All right, here's a little bit of a review for today's quiz. So a question you may be asked would be something like the area of a circle is 154 inches squared. Find the measure of the diameter. All right. So a key word here is that it's asking for the diameter. The other would be we're looking at area of a circle, and that area is 154, right? So we have area is 154. We also know that the area of a circle is pi r squared, right? And since both of these are area, we can say that pi r squared is 154, or 154 is pi r squared. It doesn't matter, right? We're looking for the radius. Divide both sides by pi. We get r squared is 154 over pi. I leave it like this. I think it's easier to work with to then take the square root of both sides and type into my calculator. You don't need the r, but just the square root of 154 over pi. It saves some work on simplifying and rounding, but you could find what it is and then do it. It will be fine that way as well. You get about 7.001, and really we don't care what the radius is, but we can come back to that. The diameter is twice that, so if we multiply that number by 2, you get about 14.0028, but if we're rounding the nearest tenth, this is just 14, right? 14.0, this would run 7.0. All right, again, make sure that you find the diameter if it asks for diameter. All right, the second one, we'll look at the area of a triangle. It'll look probably something a little bit like that. 8, 5, and 10. Pretend that they have units on them, right? You need to know that the area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. The base of this and the height of this, so this is a right triangle here. The height is 8, and the base is just the part here that's actually part of the triangle, that's 10. So we get 1/2 the base of 10 times the height of 8, and we get 40. Just as a note, as you do these, what you might do is after I get the diagram drawn, to pause the video. So the next one here, we have a trapezoid, might have bases of 7 and 15, and then a height here of 6. So you might pause the video now and try to solve it first, and then if you can't, watch the video, or if you can, just double check to make sure you get it right. The area of a trapezoid is 1/2 the height times the sum of the two bases. And so we get 1/2 of 6 times 7 plus 15. That's 22. So we get 3 times 22, which is 66. All right, our next example is a parallelogram. This one may or may not be the exact problem that you are shown on the quiz today. Mostly because you actually have to find one more thing in it before you find the area. So if we have sides of 8 and 10, we need to be able to take the base times the height here, right? So our base is obviously 10, right? The height though is not 8, right? Because 8 is this here. So what is this? Well, we have a right triangle here. It happens to be a special right triangle. It has 45-degree angle here, 90-degree angle here. That means this top angle must be 45. It's not quite drawn to scale. It doesn't look like it quite fits that, but that's what it tells us. So this height must be 8 divided by the square root of 2, right? In a 45, 45, 90, to go from a leg to the hypotenuse, which is what this is, you multiply by root 2, and to go from the hypotenuse back to a leg, you divide by root 2. So the area here is base times the height. Again, the base is 10. Height is 8 divided by root 2. And we get 56.568 if we're rounding to the nearest tenth. 56.6 is where we would go. Again, all the measures are in centimeters, but your answers will just be in numbers. So this is centimeters squared because we're talking about an area. Seven centimeters, 3 centimeters. This one is 1/2 of d1 times d2. And suppose you have to know that it's a rhombus. So we get 1/2 of diagonal 1 is 14. Diagonal 2 is 6. Right? It's the whole thing and the whole thing. And 3 times 14, or 7 times 6 is 42. Again, it would be centimeters squared. However, on the quiz, all you have to do is put 42. How about for a kite? Let's say we're given a kite, 15 and 9. Now remember, the area of a kite is the same way that we find the area of a rhombus. So area is 1/2 the product of the diagonals. So it's 1/2 of 15 times 9. And we get 67.5. All right, after those, you'll have some stuff with circles. So say we had a circle with a radius of 6. It'll give a measure, so something like 6 inches. Right? Area for a circle is pi r squared. That's 6 squared, right? That's our radius, so this is 36 pi. for your answers, you will always give it as a decimal. So 113.09, you're rounding to the 10th, so 0.09 does round to 1. All right, what if we had another circle? But this time it gave us a diameter, and the diameter is 21 centimeters. We don't find the area based on the diameter, right? We only do it off the radius. So the first thing you have to do here is decide what the radius is. Well, the radius is half the diameter. So the radius here would be 10.5 centimeters. So the area of this is pi r squared. That is 10.5 squared times pi. And that is about 346. 346 point, it goes 0.36. Since it's 0.3 and then a 6, the 6 rounds the 3 up to a 4. Right, when we're going to the nearest 10th. All right, just 2 more problems. Both of these are going to be on sectors. So our first one, 42 and 4 centimeters, and we're going to find the area inside this sector. Okay. So this is the area of our sector over the area of the circle. Equals the degrees of the sector, which is 142, over the total degrees, 360. Right. And you can make this, since we're dealing with just the sector itself, you could also write this as the area is 142 over 360 times pi r squared, right? This time I'm going to put the 4 in now. No, I'll just leave it, pi r squared, right? You can do it this way as well. It works. It might be easier for you. So our area here is that 142 over 360 times pi r squared. R is 4, so this is times 16 pi. 142 divided by 360 times 16 pi is about 19.8. 19.8. Again, that'd be in centimeters squared. If you're wondering if it makes sense, you could find the area of the actual circle. All right, that is 16 pi. And then take a guess about how much this is. This is maybe about a third, right? 142 of 360, a little bit less than a third, or about a third. Sorry, a little bit more than a third, right? A little bit more than a third. And 19.8 is a little bit more than a third of 50, right? So that does make sense, and that is our answer. This one, like one of the other ones I said in the video here, may be the exact problem that is on the quiz today. These are the 2 hardest ones that I'm giving you exact here. It will also give me an idea whether or not you watched the video. So here we are finding the shaded area. That's this big area out here. The inside here, this degree is 12. So what's the degree of this? Well, it must be 360 minus 12, right? And that is 348. And that's the degree measure we want to use here, right? The other way you can do it, I very strongly would say don't, would be to find the area of the non-shaded area and then subtract it from the total area of the circle. It works, it's fine, but I think this is better. So again, we're going to use that second way of writing the formula here. The area is 348 over 360. Again, that's most of the circle times pi r squared. R is 6, so we get 36 pi. 348 divided by 360 times 36 pi is 109.3. And that should be your answer. Again, note that if you find the actual area, 36 pi, you get 113.1. And so, which was actually one that we did already, right? So if you got an answer like 4 here, you should think about the question whether 4 makes sense, that it's the area of this large part. That would mean that the rest of this inside part is 109, right? Which wouldn't make sense. So again, make sure that your answer fits the question that's being asked. And that's it. That's the quiz. Best of luck.